Good morning, everybody. I'm Micheline from Americana Long Arm Quilting. We do custom quilting and long arming, and you can find a link to our website in the description below. Today, I'm going back to my old favorite, the potato chip block. I've got another disappearing one for you today. But let me show you kind of the evolution of where I've come with my potato chip blocks. This was my very first ever potato chip block. And I did sashing and cornerstones with that one. And that was just absolutely scrappy, no rhyme nor reason to it. And I just liked it with a piece of sashing in it. Now, this is the one that I just made, and I didn't put any sashing in this one. And isn't that fun? That's going to a winner from our Greenville show. So I got to get that in the mail in the next day or two. All right. Then I wanted to do something kind of different with the potato chip block. So I did this one, and this is kind of a rectangular round the world, if you please. And that one has been really popular on our channel, and we'll leave a link to all of these other videos that we've done potato chip blocks for in the description. Okay. Then I went on to disappearing because I love a disappearing block. And I made this one that disappears. Get you the right side. This is a big one. Let me move him out of the way a little bit there. Okay. And again, there'll be a link for that disappearing block in the description. Now I'm going to show you my favorite one. There's a lot of things that you can do with a potato chip block just by altering where the colors go. You saw that in the round the world one where it kind of went light pieces, then dark. Well, this one, I was able to achieve the look of what's it called? Log cabin, just by using dark colors and light colors. Now, these colors might be a little bit faded because this one's been through the wash a lot. I use this in my recliner. Okay, well, today I have another disappearing potato chip block, and I can't wait to show it to you. Let's get over to the machine and get it started. So first of all, in picking colors, I do better when I find a fabric that I really love, and then I pick fabrics that go with that. So here was my, what do you call that? A focal print. That one I really loved. This one I really loved. So I'm picking fabrics that go with this to do this, this quilt. Those are potato chips. I cut these down into potato chips. The rest, I just went through my potato chip boxes, which I've got a lot of. This is just one of the boxes. And I went through and picked fabrics that I thought looked good with those other two fabrics. Now, I think that this is a really great thing to do if you are a scrap quilter. I have a bucket beside my sewing machine, and whenever I get little tidbits and whatnot in it, oh, it's full right now. It is so full. It's ridiculous. But whenever I get that super full, I go and I disseminate. I cut it down into whatever thing that I think it'll work with. I've got 5-inch squares, my potato chips, which are the 2.5 by 4.5. I have 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares. Sometimes I'll do a different size square if I've got a lot of it. I do strings. I do crumbs, and leftover 2.5 inch jelly roll strips. Okay. I put it all in buckets like this or containers like this. And then if I want to do a potato chip quilt, I just go to this and I pick out what I want. So that's what I did. And I found all of these fun colors that went with these two. Okay. So I got a collection done. And then the next step is to make a potato chip block. Here is, I've picked out some fabrics, and you can see I'm just making a small potato chip block. It starts out with these two in the center being sewn together. Then you sew one on the top, one on the bottom. Then you sew two together in this fashion. along the short side, and then you sew those to the center section. Let's get busy and get that done. So as you can see, it was really easy to put together this little potato chip block. And this is a small one. Normally you would keep going around and around, but we just need 8.5 inches for this one. Now I did iron it so that all the seams kind of go away from the center. That's not super important. You can do it any way you want. I have myself here an 8.5 inch block of my background fabric, and I'm going to put this right there on top of it, line up that first edge, make a careful 1/4 inch seam, like so. I guess I could just spin it, but I like to kind of take it out of there and even up the next section. Okay, the next side. There's not a lot of leeway in when you get to cutting it apart, so I am being pretty careful with my 1/4 inch seams. Yeah, I was going to put another one of those in. All right, let's go again, and as you can see, I am just going all the way around. The last side here. I'm going to get started on it, and then I'm going to come in here and kind of make that work a little bit better here. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to take this back over to the ironing board, and I'm going to set these seams so that this is nice and flat for when I take it to the cutting mat. Okay, now I've got it here on my spinning mat, and I am lining up the very corner where you see those two pieces of thread cross over. I'm kind of lining those up on the grid on my mat, okay? So they're all lined up. Now I'm just going to take this, and using that grid is just a little bit of a help to me. You don't have to. You can just go from that corner to that corner. But, you know, if it works out, that's great. All right. Cut it once that way. And spin my mat. And I'm going to cut it again this other way. Like so. There we go. Now I've got 4 half square triangles that I'm going to trim down to, first I'm going to press it so that everything goes this way. And then I'm going to trim all of these down so that they are 5.5 inches. And then I'll show you how to put them back together again. All right, I've finished trimming these all down to 5.5 inches. Now let's set them up in the order that we want to put them back together. Now, it's really important, we're creating a pinwheel, by the way. It's really important that you create every single block the same way. Okay? You don't want to do it this way, this way on one, and then this way on the next one, right? Because you want them all together, all going the same way. Otherwise, your block isn't going to turn out correctly. Okay, so now we've got it put together the way we're going to sew it. We're going to take this back over to the machine and put those seams together. All right, here was our little pinwheel, which I love pinwheels, so this makes me very, very happy. And I'm going to now sew them together. So this one's going to go over here and this one over here. I'm going to move him out of the way for just a second. Okay, so let's start with this. You see, I've got my seams for the corner here. They can nest. So I'm going to make sure that nests really nice. And since we were so careful with our trimming job, it is a perfect match. Get that one over there a little bit. Okay, so do that careful 1/4 inch seam again. All right, now I'm going to put these two up here, and I'm going to leave the string attached to this one. I might pick this up just a little bit to hold on to that because that is the thicker part, and I don't want my machine pushing it out of the way. There we go. Now, leaving that string attached, I'm going to put this way towards, I'm going to push this seam towards this background because there's only one bulky seam there, but there'd be 1, 2 on this side. So I'm going to go the direction that the material is telling me would be easier, okay? And this one, I'm going to go the other way for the same reason, okay? Now those are together. I'm just going to flip this way. Now I'm going to make sure that my center is nesting, and I'm just going to go over here and put this guy under the machine. Set that down, hold it with my finger a little bit. Get that to there, and then I'm going to come line this one up really neatly. There we go. Have you noticed that sometimes I really use my leaders a lot, and then other times I don't? Okay. So now here we have our beautiful little pinwheel, and we're going to take it back over to the ironing surface. But before I do that, I'm going to clip that little string right there. And then I'm going to, I want this seam to lay that way and that seam to lay this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here like this, and I'm going to take and just break a few of those stitches. Now, when I lay this out, I get a cute little pinwheel right on this side too. Okay, and I can press this one this way and this one this way, and that's going to make my block lay really nice and flat. All right, let's get these put up on the design wall, and I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll get it sewn together. All right, I got it up on the design wall. Super excited about how it turned out. You know, I'm really loving not using white as the background. I just think that it really gives it some vibrancy. Esme agrees. I also really like, I know that you can get a similar look to this by strip piecing a couple of pieces together, but you won't get the variety. Like you've got 2 different pieces here, there's another piece here and here. So this gives you a lot more variety of your colors, and it was easy to do. All right, I'm going to put a border on it. well, first, I'm gonna sew the rows together, or I'm gonna sew together the rows and then sew all the rows together. And then I'm gonna put this border on it. And then I will put it on Eleanor and get it long-armed. You ever wonder how to get from an 8.5-inch potato chip block to a 10.5-inch pinwheel block? This is how. This was so much fun to make. And it really was like magic to go from just that little tiny potato chip block, which to me are so much fun to make. And there's such an amazing use of your scraps. I literally just went through my scraps, excuse me, and found the colors that I kind of wanted to stay within. I didn't have to cut anything because I already had my scraps cut down to 2.5 by 4.5 inches. Got a frog along with us this morning. Those potato chip blocks were so easy to make. And then because of the way you cut them, you sew all the way around and then you cut diagonally. It's like magic. You have a larger block than what you started with. So this was really a lot of fun. I will say one thing, you have to be really careful about your 1/4-inch seams. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a little bit smaller block when you go to trim down the blocks after you get those half square triangles. But that's fine. If you have a larger seam, don't trim them down to 5.5 inches like I did. Trim them down to 5.25 inches. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So super easy to make, and what a great result you get with your points. They're just perfect. And because of the way we ironed everything, they all flipped and worked together so that you can get that really lovely point. Okay, she finished 58 inches wide by 68 inches long. I did a 4-inch border all the way around. Let's see what else. Oh, there are 30 blocks. They finished 10 inches each. I quilted it with a little swirl circle meander, and I think it just turned out really, really fun. Listen, you can find a PDF pattern for this on our website, and there'll be a link to that in the description below. Better stop before this frog really gets me. Excuse me. It's early in the morning. Okay, maybe I should have finished that cup of coffee before I started filming. Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. Do all the things to make that algorithm sing. May your fabric be starched and your needles stay sharp. Happy quilting. Bye.